We all like to come and go freely, for sure.
Mm.
Those of us who choose to, or can, or have the ability, prefer to use a car as our preferred mode of transport.
Yeah.
Although I only have to wait another 10 months or so for my pensioner bus pass
Mm.
here in Brazil, and I will use this bus pass more
Mm.
if I don't have to. If I will use the bus more if I don't have to pay for it,
Yeah.
of course.
Of course. Yeah.
But for things like doing a big shop at the supermarket or transferring a somewhat heavy load, I will still be using the car.
Yes.
Now, by now, I'm sure you'll know what I'm driving at for this podcast.
But to speak.
And
Yeah.
that is, of course, the changes in the rules to hold a driving license in the UK.
Yes.
There are changes in the British legislation from this year for you to get your hands on a license in the first place. But I don't want to dwell on those particular laws because, in general, it's a first timer who has to jump through those hoops
Mm.
to pass the test. And as it's their first time for them, there will be no change.
Yeah.
It'll be like experience, just like we all had.
Mm.
Just that they'd be doing different things.
Yeah.
They will just invent the rules when they see them. Like I said, there are two rules which I would like to look at a little bit closer and perhaps draw a parallel with having a license here in Brazil.
Mm. Mm.
Firstly, the eye tests that came up in the news,
Mm.
especially for the over 70s. Well, of course, of course. Why would the Brits allow people with failing eyesight on the roads in the UK, being an accident waiting to happen?
Mm.
The argument is that will take away the independence of elderly people. How can anybody make that argument? You know, it's obviously they haven't had a family member or even themselves get knocked over by Mr. Magoo.
Mm. You might have to explain who Mr. Magoo is to our younger people. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everybody knows by now.
Yeah.
Here in Brazil, the health aspect of having a license is taken seriously.
Mm.
When I renewed my license here for the first time, I was almost refused because I had high blood pressure. They give you a medical.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Since then, I've taken the tablets, of course,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
I by a and that's
Yeah.
bollock that I got my license
Yeah.
renewed.
Okay. Yes.
Eyesight is serious business here, not only in terms of focus, but also color blindness
Yes.
or color vision deficiency, as it is now known.
Mm.
Right? We also have a psychotechnical test here in
Yeah.
Brazil
Yes. About that.
to find out about our temperament. I remember taking two or three of these exams, especially when I
Mm.
was younger.
Mm.
So that way we know that road rage, although will not be totally wiped out, will be kept to a minimum.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Because the crazies you just don't give a license to.
Yes. Yeah. I'm saying
Those,
nothing. I'm saying nothing. Yeah.
those that have aggressive traits, just
Yeah. Yeah.
say they failed on the practical.
Yes.
Then, of course, there's a drink driving limit,
Yeah.
being reduced from 35 to 22 milligrams of alcohol in every 100 milligrams of blood.
Mm.
When I was a small kid, my dad had to limit himself to only being pissed while driving in
Mm.
1967.
Yes.
Uh, when the first legislation came in, being in the UK, at 80 milligrams of alcohol for every 100 milligrams of blood.
Mm.
That to
Yes.
me is a good night out.
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
But before this time, he could drive pisses apart,
Yeah.
as there was no specific level where a person had to stop drinking behind the wheel.
Mm.
Of course, back then, very few people had motor cars,
Yeah.
and those that did, the cars hardly were driven above 50 miles about 50 miles an hour anyway.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
It's not about here in Brazil, until recently, just like in the UK, pre-67, there are no laws were no laws specifically about levels of alcohol in the blood for the private motorists. The commercial motorists, like a truck driver and bus driver, they are very strict on what they expect of them.
Yeah.
So they have to be very careful. If you're drunk as a lord and you're behind the wheel of a truck, you can create a lot of damage. It was a case of drive carefully, and if you were involved in an accident, it is always your fault.
Yes.
Over recent years, at least here in Pernambuco, which is where Mark and I live, that there is a zero tolerance, it's called.
Yeah.
And it's zero alcohol in the blood system.
Yes.
If you're driving. And they have roadside blitzes done sporadically, but more oftenly during the main holidays, like Christmas, New Year, Carnival, San Juan. It's when people tend to drink an awful lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a few sessions at the bar before going home, but only because I could. But now, if I go out drinking, it's either with my son, who's a teetotal, and him driving.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Yeah. Oh, bloody hell. Hang on. Go out. Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. Go for teetotaler is my son. Yeah.
This proves that it's live, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's either with him driving or I get an Uber.
Yes.
Or a taxi.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, I do my happy hour Friday evenings at home, and I don't feel anything different by it.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't changed a great deal. I think the UK should follow here and go scorched earth as allowing people to drink a little. If you give them a like 0.22 of alcohol, which is like a pint.
Yeah.
The 3.5 was like 2 pints, depending on who you were.
Yeah.
And the thing is that once you get that taste of having beer in your mouth, the tendency is to have 3, perhaps 4. And it's better to have none if you're driving.
Yes.
Go to town if you're not. Get yourself a driver or get yourself an Uber or a taxi.
Yes.
And this is from a guy that used to like to go out and have a session and then drive home when he could.
Yes.
But like I said, after the changes, I changed, and I'm not none of the worse for it. And I think the UK should follow Brazil. UK following Brazil.
Yes.
I'm going scorched earth and having zero tolerance.
Yeah.
And I think that I think it'll work out just fine for everybody.
Right.
There you are.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say when I was working in the UK since I've been 18, actually, I've worked in a safety critical environment. I could be tested for drugs and alcohol at any time. Obviously, work time, or they could send somebody around to my house if they particularly wanted, if I gave permission, I think. But the thing is, if I was stopped driving and did test positive, I had to report it to my manager. This was all part of my contract. Yeah. Because it all fed through. So okay, in my social life, if I was drinking, I got caught doing something illegal with alcohol or drugs, even. Yeah, it was reportable, and it could mean a suspension or removal from employment, and a career gone, and a pension probably. So yeah. Now, I know people say human rights and everything. Okay, we could argue that one later. But yes, I agree with you. I mean, I watched a podcast of a notable politician talking about this, and he says there's a war on the motorists. I think in today's understanding of what alcohol can do to you and how it impairs your judgment, I am inclined to agree with you that having a zero tolerance or a very low tolerance is a good idea. Um, I think the UK have a little bit leeway in case you eat a chocolate or something else that might just have something in it. Okay. Um, I got used to being careful what I put in my body, so to speak, because of my job. Yeah. And I understood. Yeah. And um, something could be impregnated with alcohol or drugs or something else. So I wouldn't eat anything if I wasn't absolutely certain it was okay to eat. Um, I agree with you. Yeah, you have a zero tolerance. Um, I do think in Brazil they say zero tolerance when you're tested, and then there's just mitigating circumstances afterwards that can come out. Um, Also, with you talk about the lei seca, which means dry law, seca meaning dry and law, which is what we terminally know as the blitz. A blitz is where they go into an area and they pull traffic over. You could be in an Uber. You could be in an Uber. They pull the Uber driver over as well. They'll test them. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully the clock stops running at that point. That's not down to you.
Well, Uber, the clock doesn't run anyway. It's a
Yeah, well, yeah.
fixed fee.
I'm joking a bit about that, but yeah, certainly. It's a bit of an inconvenience, but yeah, they test the guy. It takes minutes for them to do it. They go in there. It's the blow, or they've got other ways to do it now. I've been tested. Quite funny when I got tested, I got pulled over. My wife who had been drinking, didn't really help. Well, said, "Oh, he's English. He obeys all the rules." And I was saying, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." Yeah, they're going to give me a full search in a minute if we're not careful. I think the guy was laughing, you know. So yeah, but I had a test done and everything, and they check all the credentials on the vehicle you're driving as well. They check your license, your credential, all the paperwork. Yep. You very often see with these lei secas, sometimes they've got stacked up with either vehicles or
Yeah, the transporter.
the
Oh,
transporter, yeah, as well. And yeah, one day I saw them that they're just pulling over motorcycles. It were just the iFoods or the food deliveries. Some people were going to be very disappointed that night, from what I could tell. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think our understanding of the world now, there's so many vehicles about. Um, with cars, when you get behind the wheel of a car, you're operating a very sophisticated, dangerous piece of plant equipment. That's what people don't realize. You are, to all intents and purposes, an operator of plant, a dangerous piece of equipment that has the potential to kill. And the same as you wouldn't send someone out in your workplace to operate a piece of a lathe or a forklift truck if you suspected they were drunk. So the same should go in a public arena as well, public forum as well. Um, Anyone that gets caught, I don't have any sympathy. You know the rules. I'm not saying that we haven't tried it. Anyone, um, we've been lucky. Yeah, people are lucky not to get caught. I don't consider it an infringement on my human rights, liberties. I think French people argue it is. Um, if I'm in charge of a dangerous piece of equipment, I expect to obey by the rules. Um, if I have a drink and I'm walking along the street and somebody objects and I'm not doing any harm, that's a different matter. Yeah, I'm entitled. That's my public. That is my freedom, my freedoms at that point. If somebody comes up and objects to me on, yeah, okay, if you're being abusive, that's one thing. If somebody objects on religious grounds, they've got no right to. I can decide I'm going to have a drink. Have a drink, I shall. Yeah. Um, Again, we get into the other thing, alcohol abuse as well. Yeah, that's for another time. But yeah, I agree that it should be zero. I disagree with the senior politician who said he's taken away a piece of traditional life. Um, we've all got access now, or a lot many people, most of us have access to an app to take an app vehicle, it's a app taxi to take us to the pub. Inexpensive, really, all things considered. Yeah, depends what you're going. Um, or walk there maybe. Yeah, walking back might be a different matter. Yeah, but yeah, if you can walk there, I know it's getting more difficult with many village amenities closing down, which again is a sad thing. And yeah, but maybe if we didn't drive there, maybe if people didn't drive to drink, um, drive somewhere to drink, maybe the village pubs would stay open because people would have to be in walking distance of theirs.
Well, imagine Granny with failing eyesight having a few couple of gin and tonics before
Mm.
she gets behind the wheel.
Yeah, well,
She's absolutely nothing.
yeah. Well, my grandmother was still driving at about 97, driving like a 20-year-old. Just yeah, she didn't use to hit things, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid there is a thing also with older people do think they come from, with all due respect, the generation you came from, with the beliefs you've alluded to in this podcast. Oh, I can have a drink and drive. You can't. We're a different world now. There are too many vehicles about, um, and um, yeah. I mean, the thing is, well, I mean, okay, we're coming into new territory now. We're getting more and more autonomous cars. Even if you're driving an autonomous car, you can still be stopped and be checked for sobriety.
Yeah, of course you can, because you're in
Because
charge of a car.
exactly, yeah. So um, they're not that sophisticated yet. Which kind of things with new talks about new Uber's total autonomous app cars coming to your thing. You know, that's going to be a different matter then. in get four totally drunk lads sitting there. Yeah, nobody's going to be able to take over control of the vehicle under any circumstances. Um, yeah, I do think the zero tolerance. I mean, it's one thing here, you know it. We know, sadly, there's lots of people being caught, even with our blitz we've got here.
There always will be.
Yeah, and um, and the fact that the blitz still exists. And I must admit, they're quite crafty the way they do it now. I've seen one where they've had one on the main road, and then they've put one down a side road that people used to use as the rat run to get around it. Yeah,
I've been stopped by one of them.
yeah, yeah. And they just call you over. Normally, as British people, they get into us. We might get in a conversation with the guy. Where you from? Inglaterra?
And
Well,
it's not, it isn't that I was trying to avoid the blitz, by the way.
no,
It's
no,
I had to turn on the side road to come home.
yeah.
The side road was to come home, and they thought that they must have thought that I was trying to avoid the blitz, and I got stopped on the side road.
Well, yeah. You could be the only car that was down that particular road, or
Yeah.
probably about 3 an hour or something. They're getting bored. They're pleased to have something to do. Yeah, yeah, because you get the man who weighs you into the coned off area. The only thing that does annoy me is that annoyed me when we went to out on a Christmas do. We're in an Uber and we're down one of the main roads. Yeah, what we call an A road, arterial road in England, and they're coned off one lane of this thing, and it caused severe congestion. I must admit that was quite annoying. Um, Trying to get home after a function, you're sitting there and whatever reasons you just want to get home. Are you thinking, yeah? And now if the Uber driver gets pulled over, yeah, I'm going to be waiting here for another 5-10 minutes as well. Yeah. I must admit, a lot of the app drivers are clean.